Since my Eric Stokes video and my Trevon Diggs video, I've received a lot of comments about Florida corner CJ Henderson, and some of you believe he might be the best corner in the nation. And so I decided, if I'm going to talk about cornerbacks, I got to mention this guy. He's a 6'1", 191-pound cornerback out of Miami, Florida. Last year, he had 38 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. And although CJ is tall, he looks like he has like a wiry frame. You know, he's kind of like thinner, and he's not the most physically imposing corner. And his physicality on the field kind of shows for it. He doesn't do a lot in the press game because he is seemingly not that strong. With that said, he is a willing tackler and doesn't run from the play. He doesn't give up on plays either. He will always run you down and block for his teammates. Also, and this is where he makes his money, this is why people say he might be the best corner in the nation, he is talented in coverage. He uses his natural length and speed to cover up receivers. He basically can flat out run a 4.3 40. And Todd Grantham, the defensive coordinator, said Henderson is probably the greatest corner that he's ever coached. That's a pretty big deal. So today I'm going to break down some plays and show you what I really like about him, some things that they can get better in, and you'll see why people tab him as one of the best corners in the nation, if not the best. The first thing that I'm going to point out is that Florida likes to use Henderson on corner blitzes. He can really get after your quarterback. So in the first quarter against Michigan, 10 minutes and 4 seconds, CJ Henderson is at the boundary corner position, hovering near the right outside linebacker / the standing defensive end on 3rd and 9. There was no wide receiver on CJ Henderson's side, so this is a zone. It's a zone blitz. CJ Henderson immediately takes off at the snap, allowing his front level of the defense to probe the offensive line and create a hole before he accelerates through the gap of the center and the left guard. He guns for Shea Patterson and gets the easy sack. Patterson couldn't really react before CJ Henderson got there. The speed really helps here in sneaking up on the quarterback. So just an example of him being able to do that. Now, in the fourth quarter, so we're going to the next play against Michigan, 4 minutes, 52 seconds. CJ Henderson's at the field cornerback position on Nico Collins, one of their better wide receivers. So close coverage here, but CJ Henderson doesn't really use his hands. He was already shading his leverage to the outside of Nico to start. And on the snap, he patiently waits for Nico and shifts his feet to the outside to keep that leverage. That lets me know he has coverage inside. I like that he has barely moved off the line of scrimmage all this time as well. He trusts his footwork and talent to keep him in the play. He then patiently runs alongside Nico on the outside shoulder up the field. So Nico Collins is not afraid of losing a speed contest because he knows that he is talented enough to keep up. So he has the ability to rely on his speed and can be very patient at the point of contact, or lack of a lot of contact in the case for him. Now I'm going to give you another play that kind of exemplifies this a little bit more of his skill. The start of the first quarter against LSU, CJ Henderson is at the boundary corner position, one-on-one with the wide receiver. There's only 2 yards of separation between them. And once again, CJ Henderson won't use his hands here, but he does use his feet really well. The wide receiver immediately tries to get outside leverage, but Henderson quickly shifts himself to the right with a smooth first plant of the right foot to the right. And then he quickly follows it with the left foot, and he continues that pattern in a fluid motion toward the sideline while angling up so that he stays on top of the wide receiver. He didn't sidestep to bump into the wide receiver, but to stay on top. So simultaneously, he did not lose outside coverage or outside leverage on the wide receiver, and he took the wide receiver out of the play. And he did all this really without really getting physical and use his hands. He really used his feet, his speed, and his ability to know, I guess, knowledge of how to use leverage well. So he uses speed and leverage in ways that not a lot of cornerbacks know how to do. But the interesting thing is that he's doing this without really getting physical with them. Let's go on to another play. We're going to go back to the Michigan game. First quarter, 5 minutes, 28 seconds. CJ Henderson is at the field corner position. A yard separates him from Nico Collins. I would expect a hard press here with how close he is, although I've quickly learned, as I said before, that that's not his strong suit, although it would have helped. This time, Henderson is playing inside technique, and they want Shea Patterson to beat them outside the numbers. Ironically, by the end of this play, he did do that. So on the snap, Nico does a good job of using his feet to stall CJ Henderson at the line of scrimmage before taking a jab in and starting upfield. CJ Henderson reacts fairly well and gets a hand on Nico, but this press is far too weak as Nico's hips are turned in as Nico cuts back outside of CJ Henderson's outside hip up the field. So Nico bats away the attempt at a press, or like to keep his hands on him, so he knocks his hand away. But CJ Henderson, using his talents, he does a quick turn up the field by flipping his hips back to the outside, and he runs upfield with Nico. The damage is already done though. Nico has all the separation he needs as he cuts to the sideline on a corner to finish his C route. He has a ton of room to catch this ball, even though it's late and it's a high throw from Shea Patterson. It's an easy conversion. CJ Henderson's lack of physicality worked against him in this particular case. And so you can kind of see how it works. So I'm going to finish it up, and just to bring home this point here, I'm going to give you one more play. 13-minute 55-second mark of the first quarter against LSU. You got CJ Henderson at boundary cornerback. That close 1 yard of separation again. And this is a run. Watch CJ Henderson let the wide receiver attack him and then block him backwards about 5 to 6 yards. CJ Henderson can't allow that to continually happen. And that's not the only time I've seen this. So I'm not saying this just because of this one play. It's something that he can grow in, because I've seen him just get pushed off the line of scrimmage. So I think we've seen enough in this quick overview of CJ Henderson, of his strengths and his weaknesses. He is a talented cornerback who can run with just about anybody, and he's played with great speed and leverage consistently on just about every play. And I also like that he doesn't give up on plays and will run you down forever. And that makes for a very exciting player to see, and a good player to be a good cover corner for the rest of his time at Florida. I see why University of Florida fans are so happy with their best cornerback. Man, let me know what you think about CJ Henderson, whether or not you believe he's the best corner in the nation. And if you want to see a video that YouTube recommends that you watch based upon the algorithm, you can go to the left here. And if you want to see a video that I made last week's video, be right here to the right. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.